You know those old most wanted posters, right? The gritty, black and white photos of bank robbers and famous outlaws. Well, today, the world's most dangerous fugitives, they don't carry guns, they carry laptops. And they are leading investigators on this brand new high-stakes chase that literally spans the entire globe. And that's really the big question, isn't it? That's what international law enforcement is wrestling with right now. I mean, what do you do when the crime scene is a server on the other side of the planet and the getaway car is an encrypted tunnel? The old rulebook just gets thrown right out the window. So, to really understand this new battlefield, we first have to get our heads around just how much the criminal has evolved. The modern fugitive, well, they're a completely different animal. Just think about the differences for a second. An old-school outlaw, they needed a physical hideout, right? A safe house. Today's fugitive just needs an encrypted server somewhere in the cloud. A fake passport, that's now an anonymous avatar. And the trail, it's not footprints or witnesses anymore. It's this tangled, messy web of IP addresses and lines of code. And physical borders? They're totally meaningless. You can cross them in a millisecond with a good VPN. This right here, this sums up the whole challenge. The speed, the anonymity, and the truly global reach of these criminals is unlike anything law enforcement has ever had to face. It means we need a completely new kind of detective. So to really get this, let's dive into a couple of case files. First up, we've got a hacker known not for creating chaos, but for the pure elegance and just massive scale of their financial crimes. They were basically an architect of digital theft. Nobody knew their real name, their gender, or where they were. For years, they were just this ghost in the machine, a whisper on cybersecurity forums. The only thing investigators had to go on was this one single name, Mage. And this is why they were so feared. $400 million. And look, this wasn't stolen in some big, noisy heist. Nope. It was siphoned off, little by little, from dozens of institutions all over the world, vanishing without a sound into the super complex world of cryptocurrency. So what Mage was doing is what's called a financial breach. It's not like smashing a digital window to get in. It's more like finding a key, walking in silently, changing a couple of numbers in a giant ledger, and then walking right back out, leaving everyone completely unaware that a fortune has just disappeared. And the hunt, it was just painstaking. For 2 full years from that first breach back in 2021, investigators were basically just chasing shadows. But then the breakthrough came in 2023. They found a signature, a unique little piece of code that Mage kept reusing, kind of like an artist signing their work. That one single thread was enough to start unraveling everything, leading them on this global chase until 2025, when one tiny human error, a single login without the proper masking, brought the entire house of cards crashing down. Okay, so let's move to our next case. This one wasn't about money at all. This was about ideology, and about a hacker whose #1 skill was just pure, unadulterated elusiveness. Now, unlike Mage, who left that faint signature, this person, known only as Nyx, was a true digital phantom. Their whole goal was leaking sensitive state secrets, and their calling card was what they didn't leave behind. Literally anything. No trace. I mean, Nyx's toolkit was absolutely next level. We're not talking about some off-the-shelf software you can just download. We're talking about custom-built programs specifically designed to erase their own tracks as they moved through a system. It was like trying to follow footprints in a blizzard while the snow is still falling. Just impossible. This quote from the lead investigator really says it all, doesn't it? The skill level was so high, they genuinely couldn't tell if they were chasing a single brilliant mind or an entire foreign intelligence agency. That's the level of confusion that Nyx was able to create. So how on earth do you catch a ghost? Well, the answer wasn't in the code. After years of just hitting digital dead ends, they completely shifted their strategy. They realized, you know what? The code might be perfect, but the person writing it probably isn't. All right, so this brings us to the big question: how do these seemingly impossible hunts actually succeed? Well, it all comes down to a very modern, kind of hybrid approach to fighting crime. So it all starts with digital forensics. Experts sifting through just terabytes and terabytes of data. But no one agency can possibly do this alone, which is why global cooperation is absolutely essential. And then comes the human element, that crucial step where they connect the digital clues to a real person.
In Nix's case, that meant analyzing ideological writings online to find a linguistic match. And all of this builds up to the takedown, a synchronized operation often happening across multiple countries all at the same time.
So ultimately, you just can't fight a 21st century criminal with only 21st century tools. Victory comes from this amazing fusion of brilliant coders sitting in a lab and seasoned detectives out on the street. So why does any of this matter to you and me? I mean, these are fascinating cat and mouse games for sure, but the stakes are actually incredibly high for all of us. The single most important message sent by every single one of these successful captures is this: the internet is not the lawless Wild West it might have seemed like years ago. Sooner or later, every ghost leaves some kind of trace. Every digital fugitive makes a mistake. It upholds this critical idea that the rule of law actually extends to the digital world.
And this is what's really being protected here. It's not just about catching one person, it's about ensuring the stability of our banks, it's about protecting our personal information from being stolen, it's about preventing attacks on things like power grids or water supplies, and, fundamentally just making sure our digital society has rules that are actually enforced.
But it does leave us with one final kind of sobering thought. These are the success stories, right? The master criminals who are finally caught. And it just makes you wonder, as technology gets more and more complex and the world gets more connected, for every mage and every Nix that gets taken off the board, how many more are just getting started?